Commander Kate Ellis stared at the official transmission from the Galactic Council with growing anger. The document demanded Earth immediately surrender its recently developed phase shield technology, citing concerns for galactic stability. After decades of humanity playing nice, following rules designed to keep them contained, this was the final straw. "They've been playing us from the start," she said to her second-in-command, Tom Wilson, sliding the tablet across the desk. The diplomatic quarters of Earth's flagship Resilience suddenly felt suffocating. Tom scanned the document, his face hardening. They're not even being subtle anymore. First, they classified us as Deathworlders to justify restricting our expansion. Then they imposed technology embargoes. Now they want the one defensive technology we've managed to develop independently. "Gather the Joint Chiefs," Kate ordered. It's time humanity stopped pretending to be the friendly newcomers eager to please. The term Deathworlder had followed humanity since first contact. The aliens couldn't comprehend how a sentient species could evolve on a planet with Earth's gravity, temperature variations, atmospheric composition, and ubiquitous predators. They marveled at human endurance, strength, and resilience while simultaneously fearing it. For 30 years, humanity had played along with the charade, acting as though they were honored to have a seat at the galactic table. They accepted second-class status, restricted territories, and technological limitations, all while the Council species systematically harvested resources from Earth's restricted expansion zone. High Counselor Vex watched the human delegation enter the Grand Chamber with trepidation. Something had changed. These weren't the deferential humans who usually attended council meetings. These humans moved with purpose, their faces set in expressions Vex had learned to recognize as dangerous. "The humans appear different today," whispered Counselor Mira from the nearby Ardelian delegation. "They've received our request for their shield technology," Vex replied quietly. They were expected to comply, as always. Commander Ellis approached the podium without waiting for formal recognition. The first breach of protocol. The chamber fell silent. "For 3 decades, she began, her voice carrying without amplification, another reminder of human physiological differences. Humanity has respectfully participated in this council. We followed your regulations. We accepted your restrictions. We believed we were working toward full membership and equality." She paused, her eyes scanning the chamber. "Today I am here to inform you that humanity is no longer interested in pretending. We are not your subordinates. We are not dangerous primitives to be contained, and we are certainly not surrendering our technology." Gasps echoed through the chamber. No species had ever directly refused a council demand. "Commander, surely you understand the implications," Vex began. "We understand perfectly," Tom interrupted, stepping forward. "We've analyzed the data. Your species has been systematically preventing human advancement while exploiting the resources in our prohibited expansion zones." Back on Earth, the public watched the transmission with a mixture of fear and long-suppressed pride. The council meeting was broadcasting live, an unprecedented event triggered by emergency protocols when the human delegation had commandeered the communications system. In homes, workplaces, and public squares, humans listened as Commander Ellis unveiled decades of evidence documenting the Council's systematic oppression of Earth. "They've been afraid of us all along," said Jack, a mining operator watching from his lunar outpost. "That's why they've kept us boxed in." His colleague, Maria, nodded. "It makes sense. We can survive environments that would kill most of them instantly. We heal faster, we're stronger, and apparently we innovate in ways they don't." In the council chamber, Ellis activated a holographic display showing the human-controlled territories, a tiny fraction of council space, and then overlaid it with newly discovered data showing resource extraction operations in zones prohibited to human settlement. "While restricting our expansion citing ecological concerns, you've been stripping these same systems bare," she stated coldly. "The deception ends today." Counselor Mira trembled visibly. "What are your demands?" Tom stepped forward. "Not demands, statements of fact. First, Earth and all human colonies are immediately declaring independence from Council jurisdiction. Second, We're expanding into the zones you've been exploiting. They were promised to us in the original treaties. Third, we're releasing all independently developed human technologies to our colonies without council approval. Vex rose from his seat, his voice quavering despite his attempt to project authority. You cannot simply withdraw from the council. There are procedures, agreements. Agreements you've broken repeatedly, Ellis countered. But here's what you failed to understand about humans. We've been holding back. Those displays of strength and endurance you've witnessed, carefully moderated. Those technological advances we've shared, our most basic developments. She leaned forward. We didn't want to frighten you. We wanted to belong. But you've made it clear that will never happen. The council chamber erupted into chaos as the human delegation departed. Emergency sessions were called. Military alerts sounded across a dozen worlds, but no attack came. Instead, human ships simply withdrew from council space, returning to Earth, and established colonies. Transmissions ceased, trade halted. The humans simply disconnected. 3 days later, observers reported unprecedented activity around Earth and its colonies. New stations appeared in orbit. Ships of previously unseen designs emerged from hidden facilities. Within a week, human expansion had begun into the previously restricted zones, but with remarkable restraint. Only uninhabited systems were settled. They could have attacked, Mira noted during an emergency session. Their ships outclass our defensive vessels. Yet, they've simply taken what was already promised to them. Vex couldn't respond. The intelligence reports on his desk told the real story. Human technology wasn't just slightly advanced. It had leaped centuries ahead during their isolation. They had deliberately hidden their true capabilities while studying the Council's strengths and weaknesses. 1 month after what became known as the withdrawal, a single human diplomatic vessel requested permission to dock at the Council station. Commander Ellis and Tom Wilson returned to the chamber, this time not as supplicants but as representatives of the newly declared Human Accord. We don't want war, Ellis stated to the assembled council. We never did. But we will no longer accept being treated as dangerous children. The humans you've been dealing with, the friendly, compliant humans, that was us being polite. Now you'll deal with us as equals, or not at all. The council, faced with the reality of what an unfriendly human civilization might mean, unanimously approved a new treaty that same day. We never needed to bare our teeth, Tom remarked as they departed. They just needed to know we could.